Good afternoon. After much technical difficulties, we seem to be in business. Only 21 minutes late, or an hour and 21 minutes late, depending on your perspective. I really need to update my calendar. In fact, I should do that right now while I'm waiting for the game to load. That's in the channel settings. Let's get right into it, because I don't want to miss a minute of this game. Now I do have a save file here because I loaded up the game before for testing purposes, but I never made it off the first island. No super sampling. I don't do cheats. We're going to turn ray tracing on though, and we'll see how it goes. Now we're playing at 1080p, playing full screen, VSync on, and let's just put the 120 FPS frame rate cap on, so there shouldn't be any motion, there shouldn't be any tearing in my 60 FPS frame cap. Many ages, infinite truths. Old Denis proverb.
Returned. I need your help. There's a great deal of history that you should know, but I'm afraid there's no time to explain. Most of what you'll need to know is in here. reasons you will discover, I can't send you to Riven with a way out. But I can give you this. It appears to be a linking book back here to Dunny, but it's actually a one-person prison. It's the only way to capture Gen. Here. Once you've freed Catherine, I'll come with a linking book. She'll know how to signal me. There's a very good chance, if all this goes well, that you'll be returned to the place that you came from. Until we meet again. Take care, my friend.
Okay, so he's going to MYST. And his linking book is now locked in this box. We are going to Riven, which we caught a glimpse of in Rime. And by the looks of it, we're using a damaged linking book. I really should get more into the lore. Like, I wonder if they ever really explain, like, the art, the descriptive book, and the linking books. Does the original descriptive text have a link? The concept of linking books has always been so fascinating to me.
Ủa? Kalian ye? Kau ada? Dua wibu mana? Tagima. Rekoa. Tagima. Su rekoa. Isirap. Mutika buku anai. Isirap. Mutika buku anai. Bukuan ay. Isirap. Bukuan ay. Bukuan. Bukuan ay.
the guy that stole the book from me. Same symbol. We come in here and we have this huge door. Plaque. No clues here. No clues whatsoever. Can we close the door? No. We can't close the door. Oversight, maybe? I bet it'll be closed the next time I come here. could add Klingon and Dani to Google Translate. So this is showing someone writing an age. Deforestation necessary to create the great works of the Dani. Ray tracing hits hard. Hold on. That's a little less. No, that's noticeably less. Counterclockwise from start, so I need to move 2 maybe. rift. There's multiple rifts. That is bothersome. The water doesn't appear to fall into it either. I need to move it 2 more times. Set up for later. I don't remember my Dunny numerals. there's waterfall again. It's just not much. Okay. Very complicated linking book that does not appear to link to anywhere. That's suboptimal. Roller coaster time. piece of pipe sticking out from under there, or is that the... Or is that the... No, that's the reflection of the log. Pac-Man. Not what I meant to do, but, you know, hey, always along for a ride. let's read the book, now that I figured out how to access it. So I think I accidentally hit tab. That's a fire. $87,610. They held me for more than 30 years, but the corrections I made to Riven have finally failed. Oh, they held for more than 30 years, but the corrections I have made to Riven have finally failed. The island has resumed the familiar pattern of decay that is the hallmark of my father's work. I must now race to implement this new patch before it's too late. I only hope that my revised theories are sound. 87,616. Revisions to Riven completed. There are still a number of minor adjustments that need to be made, but the basic corrections are in and should be working. Something's not right. I've been monitoring the instruments for several hours now, but have thus far observed no change. It's possible I've made an error, though I've checked my entry against my prenotation and can find no discrepancy. I haven't slept in nearly 3 days, so it may be that I'm just not seeing it. If the fault is with my foundational assumptions, however, perhaps after a short rest I will see something. 87,618. Success! It appears that my repairs have been effective after all. The gateway image has become noticeably clearer, and although it's impossible to know this with absolute certainty, the island seems to have quieted itself. Just a few more weeks of work and I should be free, at last, to go there myself and attempt to bring Catherine back. The past 8 months have left me little time to devise a strategy for getting her out of there. There's been no sign from her in all that time. I only hope that... No, I must assume she's alright, lest my fears undermine my efforts. Excuse me. I did not create the Age of Riven. Unlike my father, I have never presumed to have such power, and yet the future of all those who live there has fallen into my hands. So far, I've managed to read the page before it turns. The island continues to appear stable, and I would like to believe that I have saved a dying world. But the theories of one individual cannot support the lives of real people indefinitely. I must get everyone off of Riven as soon as possible. The problem now is Gen. I'll never be able to rescue Catherine and relocate the islanders if he is still the man he used to be. I haven't seen him in over 30 years, but given his history, I must assume that he's still a threat. Excuse me. His myopic mission to restore the Denis civilization has left too many innocent cultures dying in its wake. A pattern that would no doubt continue were he to ever escape the confines of Riven. For more than 3 decades now, the universe has been safe from his corruptive influence, because no one has been able to leave that ill-fated age. The last linking book out of Riven having been lost in the Star Fissure upon my return to MYST, which is where I found it. That was our intention, to maroon my father on Riven by removing all the existing links to other worlds. And since the libraries containing the vast and intricate knowledge needed to construct linking books remained largely confined to the ruins of Denis, he would be trapped there for the remainder of his lifetime and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. This is what we achieved, but the way it fell was no one's ideal. And although the sting of it has gradually faded over the years, The deep pain. Excuse me. The deep pain of the responsibility for what actually came to pass has never left me. At the time it all seemed so clear. Gen's destructive path could not be allowed to continue. But it was never my wish that the innocent inhabitants of Riven, who had already suffered so much, would be the ones to have to pay for it. But enough. To dwell in the past is to die in the present. And the situation is not the same as it was then. The knowledge I've acquired since that time has yet to be factored into the equation. 87,620. I think I have a solution for rescuing Catherine. Why did it not occur to me sooner? I do not know, unless the thought had been pushed out with the memory of my sons. A prison book. Many years ago, during the hunting expedition through the ruins of Denis, I chanced upon a formula for a most unusual type of book. Unfortunately, as my father was then in the habit of confiscating my discoveries, I had to leave it behind. Years later, however, as part of my efforts to protect the vulnerable worlds linked to the books in my library, I was pleased to find I could still recall most of the formula, and with a little experimentation, quickly succeeded in creating one of those devices myself. The procedure is quite simple. By altering key lines of text, but slightly, a normal linking book's connection can be partially severed, such that anyone who attempts to use the book will be permanently trapped in the dark void of the link, unless someone else then uses the book, at which point that person becomes trapped, and the first person displaced back into the world. The technique can be applied to books that have already been written, changes to the text being so slight that anyone who is unfamiliar with the code will be unable to detect them. If my father is indeed unchanged, what better bait could there be than a book that appeared to be a link back here to Denis? One moment. I need to go get me a couple drinks, one of which needs to have some caffeine and the other for hydration. Now where was I? If my father is indeed unchanged, what better bait could there be than a book that appeared to link back here to Denis? 8772. Is this all in 87? Yeah. Trouble. My nightly analysis of the island's condition has revealed that the tremors have started again. This pattern, however, is new. The disturbances are the result of the changes I have made. This did not at first concern me. Tremors of this type were one of the possible side effects I'd anticipated during the initial phase of the island's readjustment. But in order to verify my assumptions, I recalculated, incorporating the new data. The results were not what I had expected. The damage to the understructure is more extensive than I realized. I can no longer go to Riven as planned. Catherine, forgive me. So the next day, 8773. I must act while I have the time. The signs are as yet barely visible, but there is no question that the island's deterioration is accelerating. Total collapse is imminent unless I can keep ahead of it, and that is becoming increasingly difficult to do. 8775. With every passing moment, I gain a clearer picture of the incredible chaos that my father's shortcuts have yielded. But it's a dismaying process. The complexity of the problem is overwhelming. There is no good end to this. The last few days have convinced me that the collapse of Riven is inevitable, and that at best, I can only strive to delay it in the hope that at some point the island will become stable enough to risk a rescue attempt. I think I've come up with a way to subdue the tremors. It will require my exclusive attention for at least a month or two, so it may be necessary to discontinue these journal entries for a while. Alright, so that was 8777. And then 87713. Something truly miraculous has happened. Beyond all conceivable probability, someone has found my lost MYST linking book and freed me from this prison. I immediately realized that this could be the solution to my dilemma, and I believe my mysterious benefactor is willing to assist me. The logistics of such a scheme are formidable. Ooh, excuse me. But the fact that it may now be possible for me to continue my repairs to Riven, while also proceeding with my original intent to find Catherine, has renewed my hopes. 16. The last few days have left me little time to work out the remaining problems with sending someone else to Riven. It did occur to me, however, that if a way could be found to signal me once my again had been captured, it would no longer be necessary to take a real linking book to Riven, and thereby risk the possibility of inadvertently freeing him. The deteriorated state of the gateway image would seem to make the use of a visual signal impossible, and yet the picture remains a reliable indicator of Riven's condition. Nonetheless, by measuring and interpreting variations in the noise patterns, I am still able to observe basic changes that occur in the age, even though I cannot see them. The problem is that my instruments can only detect changes that occur at a fundamental level, and it seems unlikely that an individual would be able to affect such an elementary change from within an age. The idea may be foolish. Still, there is a known weakness that may be worth investigating. An unstable anomaly that appears as a rift between two separate realms. The star fissure. But how this feature might be exploited I cannot say. Sending someone to Riven also means that once signaled, I will have to leave my writing in order to take a real linking book there myself. Provided my father is safely out of the way, this should take little time. Assuming the island does not incur any serious damage during my absence, I should then be able to return to Kavir and hold it together long enough for Catherine to evacuate the remaining islanders. Predetermining a specific signal may simply be impossible. but I'm afraid there can only be one answer to the question of whether or not I should send my friend to Riven with a way out. The potential for success will be greatly increased and the possibility of disaster greatly diminished if the prison book is all that is taken there. My father is no doubt expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. My father is no doubt expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. May he not be disappointed. Alright. It's hot in there. Oh, I didn't even see that. I can turn the flame off. Pardon me. I should probably send the power back this way. Hello, Xylocoron. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the 5th Age. Welcome to Gen's Folly. To turn the boiler back on. It doesn't appear to go anywhere. Yes, but my first playthrough was on PlayStation when I was a child. Well, teenager, and I never completed the game. It was borrowed, and I didn't have the time. So, a little bit of this is from memory. A lot of this is going to be new to me. I was just bumbling around at best back then. And it's the only game in the franchise I've never beaten. water, so this is probably a pump. And it's pretty big. I mean, one of the problems with how I played it originally is that the PlayStation version was 5 discs. So that was a hassle and a time delay in and of itself. I'll say that I prefer the live videos, the FMVs from the original. I just finished last week. I just finished playing the 2021 remake of MYST, and I have to say I liked the original better in that all of the dialogues were, or monologues rather, were, you know, live actors in video. But I understand that for compatibility reasons there were places where the FMVs weren't possible. So we got our little rock baby here. Without me. Maybe that's what this switch does. Yeah, I can't imagine the game being 5 discs on PC, but then again, we're talking about, you know, the 90s. When hard drive space was a premium and your average CD was bigger than most people's hard drives. Pins of Fate, Trespass in Gen's Laboratory. Hello, frog. I free you. Go find life or death. Whatever fills you. Oh, I don't remember Denny numerals. That's a door. Or something. Yeah, that's a door. That's a beautiful effect. And cools back down. That's just scratching. Okay, those are Daninos. Yeah, this guy was really obsessed with fives. Last week, one of my acolytes caught a rebel sniffing around the cemetery totem in the jungle. I'm keeping with the general ineptitude of my men. In keeping with the general ineptitude of my men, the dog was allowed to escape, but at least the fool had the presence of mind to bring me the object in question. It is a primitive eyepiece into which one of the native numbers has been set. Given the fact that their accursed numeric system requires you to know which way a symbol has been rotated in order to read it, however, there is no way to make sense of it. It is probably an overestimation of the moiety's intelligence to suspect that there may be some greater meaning behind it, but tomorrow I shall send a surveyor out to inspect the other totems just to be safe. Alright, well, enjoy your day. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you, I'm going to need the lock. Stone polisher. A fairly intricate one at that. And it glows. Bronze Age looking number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so I never could see any rhyme or reason to Denis numerals. I used to have them memorized, but I know it's base 26, base 25. That's okay. Looking like that's gonna be 3 in the 25's digit and 4, so that's going to be 79. The cross is 6. I have been cataloging the natural elements of this age for many years now, yet I still continue to find evidence of the number 5. As a boy, it was very clear to me that it held a place of special significance in the Denis society, from the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners. It was ubiquitous. Its presence here is clearly a direct reflection of the minds that authored the texts I used to compose this age. Further proof that through their art, the Denis masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely forging links to pre-existing worlds. While all of my ages have been based on Denis designs, I see now that the ones most vested with the power of 5 are also the most beautiful, the most perfect, and undoubtedly the most structurally sound. I still have yet to determine how the Denis color symbology reflects this superior design principle. While ostensibly a 6-color system, I am convinced that there must be some deeper connection to the number 5. I will continue to investigate. So that's 75 plus 5 is 80. One for 80th year, first month. th day. The Eatram traps have been particularly fruitful this year. Apparently, the breakup of the islands has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystem. Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are also experiencing a generous harvest. No shortage of poison for their darts this season. Such vexing issues aside, this unexpected windfall has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract for my pipe, one that is smoother than any other in recent memory. So 86th month, 25, just 27. I have reluctantly decided to suspend my inquiries into the unusual behaviors of the water of this age, as there are more pressing matters that now demand my attention. For future reference, however, my investigations have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the water to be caused by a microbe that resides within it. I am imagining a motile, unicellular organism, but one with a structure that allows it to manipulate bits of water. The aggregate effect of which is that the composite body of water is able to deform itself in response to threatening conditions. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, a period of extended boiling, for example, seems to kill them off, which would explain their dramatic aversion to even moderate rises in temperature. There is still much to learn, however, regarding this peculiar phenomena and its possible uses. Phenomena. 81. 5. 14? Yeah, curve on the bottom is 10. Construction of the imagers has proceeded without fault. Remarkable how easy it was to adapt the Denis technology to mimic that of the Ahmad? The two cultures must surely have crossed paths at some point in their histories. It may even be that Kita was a direct descendant of the Denis. How else to explain the redemptive depth of our connection? But that's all pointless now. So 75. Five and 2. Wait. 81. 82. 2, 10. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed. I am extremely pleased with the continued success of the system. Another example of the superiority of Denis technology. Ironic that Atris and Catherine's meddling unwittingly provided me with such convenient source of power. I am certain now that the fissure was an unexpected byproduct of the changes they wrote into this age as part of their machinations to trap me here. and that Atris never intended for the book to be lost among the stars in the process. Better that a linking book be destroyed than to risk it falling into unknown hands. Had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they surely would have sought another solution, as the ensuing cataclysm may well have consumed the entire world had I not managed to intervene. Catherine would never have knowingly taken such a risk, and surely my son, given his own dearth of vertebrae, had only meant for Riven to become my prison and not my tomb. Alright, so 82, 5, 8. I am discontinuing regular observations of the expanse beneath the fissure. I have tracked the stars and have proven that their paths are cyclical, but without proper instrumentation, there is nothing more I can learn. My theory, however, remains unaltered. The fabric of this age was breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between two discrete yet overlapping spaces. Yet the attendant paradoxes defy the laws of conventional physics. The great column of wind that formed when the rift first appeared suggests a vacuum as one might expect in space, yet my early experiments seemed to confirm the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atris momentarily threw himself into the void is further evidence that I might possibly be safe to venture into, but without knowing its true nature, I simply cannot take the risk. It is also difficult to say what would happen were I to reopen the fissure now, but it is highly probable that the results would be disastrous. So 88-1. My hopes have been dashed again. The latest link formation has proven to be yet another in a long list of failures. Frustrating to expend so much effort constructing a linking book only to end up destroying it when it refuses to function. Too often has this lab grown uncomfortably warm by the flames of these never-ending disappointments. Without my reference library back in Denis, a properly orthodox linking book may simply be beyond my means. But I simply cannot burn another book. There must be another way. $82.76. Pins of Fate. Late last night, while pondering these interminable setbacks, I went to light my pipe. The fire marble got away from me, however, and rolled across the gateway image of the open book before me. If the consequence of this had not been repeatable, I would not have believed my eyes, as the marble left a faint yet definitive trail of increased clarity in its wake. The change did not last long, but it was unmistakable. If I could find a way to boost the energy output of my fire marbles, it might be possible to suppress the variance enough to facilitate a stable link. But how? So still 82. 9. 26. A spatial anomaly occurred yesterday about 5 spans above the north shore of Temple Island. A breach of stars seemingly identical to the one beneath the fissure. It began as a small cloud-like hole which then commenced to expand in random surges. With some effort, I was finally able to contain it with runic plates similar to the ones I devised for the first fissure. I believe it will hold, but the appearance of a new rift is troubling, and yet it has also left me with the most uncanny feeling that something fundamental has shifted in my favor. I believe it may be time to give this inexplicable mystery a second look. 8296. I have erected a small dome, a pressurized airlock, mounted upon the contained breach. This has allowed me to safely conduct tentative forays into the expanse without subjecting Riven to further invasion and the destruction that would certainly attend it. It is bafflingly improbable. It is a bafflingly improbable space, yet surprisingly more accommodating than my initial observations had led me to believe. Breathing is indeed possible within it, yet I cannot say that it is respiration as I am used to it. Rather, as nonsensical as this is going to sound, it feels, at times, as if the expanse was breathing me, and in the process imbuing me with a sense of endless possibility. So 82.9 13. At last, the breakthrough I was hoping for. After my first full day of experiments in The Expanse, great sci-fi novel series, by the way, The Expanse, I was astonished to discover that the fire marbles in my coat pocket had come to fluoresce. A quick strike test confirmed that their energy levels had increased significantly, and their charge has lasted longer than I would have thought possible. In a clear act of divine providence, the Expanse has given me the final piece of the puzzle, an apparently boundless energy source that should be more than sufficient to rectify my linking books. But I must work quickly. 2 more breaches have occurred in the interim, each one more aggressive and difficult to contain than the last time. Time, I fear, is running out. Plus 8 is 93. 2. 8. The breach is now number 5, a sure sign that I am on the right path. I have connected the domes on each of them via a nexus of pathways within the Expanse, which will also serve as an inter-island shortcut as I continue my work on my enhanced fire marble complex. So 93, 3. The loss of 2 more men yesterday has made it clear that the full spectrum of energy is too great for even my finest fire marbles to contain, so I've decided to break it up into 5 discrete frequency ranges, which will later be recombined for application to the book. I have installed 5 charging stations within the expanse, each one calibrated to imbue a blank fire marble with a separate band of the total energy needed. A pneumatic tube system will then convey the charged marbles to the Great Gold Dome on Riven for recombination. Freedom is nearly within my grasp. Alright, this looks like something I'm probably going to need to copy down, so where's my remarkable? Oh, wrong. I want grid. So we have circle, circle, 5 lines coming off. Squares, 1 square, 5 squares, 4 squares in an L shape, and 11 squares. So we start with a 3x3. With 2 on the side. Okay. The problem of how to return to Riven has been settled. Reckon has proven his usefulness over the years, at times nearly rivaling my own engineering prowess. He and his team will have the honor of being the first to link to the new age, bringing with them the necessary materials to build a vastly simplified version of the book apparatus, which I have personally designed. If they do not return within a reasonable amount of time, I will revise my design and send additional men until they get it right. Should they founder, however, I am prepared to sacrifice every last man on Riven to continue the effort. This cannot fail. At long last, a viable loop has been established. After an eternity of toil and sacrifice, and an unconscionable preemption of the ages I might have fathered. I have finally linked to a new age. That is the symbol on the book in the gold dome, which is a Dunny numeral. Two digits. Okay, so the second digit is the 25's place, and that is 9. And that is 8. It's 9 times 25 plus 8. $233. It is a bleak and barren world, perfectly suited for my purposes. By closely comparing the real with the written, I believe I will soon be able to create a more appropriate age from which to relaunch my mission. For now, however, I will move my office and living quarters there, so that I may safely continue my endeavors without distraction. Although it is but a stepping stone, 233 is an utter triumph. To think that I have accomplished in a matter of years. I am also going to make a copy of that symbol with the down arrow there. I don't think the dish or the double mountain are that important, or the thing that looks like it's either a planter or a candelabra. But circle, circle. Rectangle. Big circle, little circle, big circle, big circle. Okay. Arrow down. Under extremely adverse conditions, what it took my Dunny ancestors centuries to achieve. No. 95. No. 75 plus 10. It's 85. Did I get the previous date wrong? It's 3 times 25 plus 10. $81. $83. I did get the previous date wrong. 85, 6, 7. I caught one of my assistants thumbing through this journal today. He will certainly never do it again, but I'm glad I chose to write this in a language these people cannot decipher. Perhaps it's time I reviewed security measures with each guild master. No problems expected from the builders, maintainers, and surveyors, but the bookmakers and educators may need a bit more motivation. $75, $85, $86, $10, $24. More reports of spirit sightings. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or the Black Moiety, as the villagers stubbornly insist on referring to them, have obtained a new level of sophistication in their terror tactics, renewing their campaign to intimidate the weak-minded into joining them by preying upon their cultural superstitions. I suppose I should be concerned by this, but it strikes me as almost laughable. If the rebels wish to dilute their ranks with diminutives, then who am I to stop them? $86, 3, chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. The metal contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears the rebels have access to resources that I am unaware of. Perhaps a mine or an uncharted island? Most of these knives have been found on the south side of the village, the same region that reports of people mysteriously disappearing have emanated from. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. The fact that the rebels deliberately leave these distinctive knives as a sign of their presence is concerning. They're growing bolder, as if they no longer fear discovery of their hideout. $87, 6, 27. Recent measurements indicate that the movement of the islands has slowed dramatically. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months, but with the new figures, I am no longer certain. I have merely finished writing the $234th age, and have every confidence it will be a safe place to relocate to, but it would still be useful to know what has caused the sudden halt in Riven's breakup. It is possible that the age is it possible that the age is stable after all? If so, I must discover how it differs from 233, which has already shown troubling signs of decay, though further tests are needed. And yet, there is something about this that gives me pause. Could it be that someone is attempting to repair the damage to the 5th age at its source? I cannot help but to think the hand of Atris is behind this somehow. Oh, it is. It's definitely Atris. There's the bridge I broke. for a compass. Oh right, this isn't powered. The bug! The golden beetle is real! It's like something out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Wait a minute. That wasn't trapped a second ago. I wonder if that was a glitch. Or am I wrong thinking that I just came back full circle? No, I definitely came back full circle. There's a person. Why can't I go swimming? pure luck. It got quieter all of a sudden. Okay. This gives me a translation key for the Rivenese numerals. Okay, let's see. How did that get down there? Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, undo. Twelve, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. So what we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, not in numerical order, and their corresponding mathematical equivalents in the Rivenese numerology. So we have two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough room. Let's move that. That's going to need to go on a different page. Undo. New page. So that's 8. That's not enough room. Okay. I am going to need more space, so we're going to do this one at a time. Dunny numeral 8. And the Rivenese is circle. With 2 symbols under it. Dunny numeral 1 is circle and 45-degree angle. The Denis 10 and then 2 down. Five. That's 3. This system makes no sense to me. The Denis system makes sense to me. Okay. So it starts with a central point around which the number rotates. We don't have a 2. That 1, 10, 8, 1, 10, 5, 3, 6. going to maintain this order, just in case it's important to a puzzle. But we're also going to copy this to a new page. And then we're going to change the order. Three. Okay. Alright, so then I'm going to assume that is 2. So then 4 is probably 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Five, 4, 5, 6. That 7 is going to be 2 petals going outward from 2 o'clock. 8 is straight down. 9 is going up the other direction. And then 10 is double 4. Yeah, okay. Alright, those make sense now. Oh crap, it's 4:15. I really need to get going.
Terekoi danni, ki bayem revat, arroyem ve tig tavom, ga bodo na gayem. Ra.
Okay. So that had numbers. Alright, you know what? This is as good a place as any. Alright. Thanks for hanging out with me. Please give me a follow, like, and subscribe if you can. And I'll be back tomorrow with, maybe. Depending on the weather. If the weather's good tomorrow, I've got to get caught up on my housework and I might not do anything. But, if the weather's crap, then tomorrow I'll be back with more Final Fantasy XIV. Will she ever get to level 100 in armor smithing? Not if I keep skipping playing.